Well, the leaves have fallen and fall is here. I am so inspired by these gorgeous colors to draw, and I'm going to do a fall scene, and I hope you join me. Today we're going to do a fall inspired drawing, and I'm just going to jump right into it. I'm going to try for like sort of like a fashion type illustration with pumpkins, a dog, and a girl. And if you're following along and you want to draw along, I'm just drawing an oval for the girl's head. I hope this marker seems okay. I'm going to draw an oval for her head. It doesn't have to be perfect. And I am going to just draw a bit of a neck and her shoulders. And again, it doesn't have to be perfect. That's the joy of this. She's going to be sitting down. There's going to be, this is a table next to her. And we're going to have, this is her dress, okay? And it's just, she's going to be sitting with her legs crossed. Now with her legs, we're going to do a long oval, right? We're going to have her knee crossed over her other knee. So it's going to be like a very long, and we can shape it as we go after, because I always get the legs too short. So I'm trying to make it extra long because I know that I always get the legs too short. And she's going to have some boots on. So once you get to the ankle, which I feel like I'm at the ankle, I'm going to try to make it a little extra longer because I always do it too short. Then I'm going to do like, it's almost like a, I don't know, her foot's not going to be the best, but that's okay. I will work on the foot later. Okay, I'm going to work on her foot later. And now the other leg is going to come out. So it's going to come down. This one came at an angle, and I'm just going to try to, this is where her other leg comes out because she's, and again, I'm going to give her the boot, and this boot is just going to, oh, that's cool. I'm going to put some bows on her shoes. That kind of covers up my mistake there. Okay, so that's her sitting at the table. I am going to have, I wonder if she should have a hat on. I'm going to leave her for now. And I'm going to do the table. So the table's going to be, I'm just going to play around with that table there, and I'll fix it up after, but we're going to have, maybe it'll be like a pedestal table, sort of. There. We're just going to leave it like this for now, because once we color it in, it's going to look a whole lot better. And I think I want her to have a fancy hat on because it's fall. So she will have a hat on that kind of comes over her head. And I'm just going to give her some hair. And I'm not going to play around too much with the hair. I think I'm going to give her some sunglasses. And I'm just going to make them with the marker. And they could be circle or square. I think I'm going to go for a square shape. And once I add the gel pen over this, it'll bring it together. And again, it's just a sketch, so we're having some fun here. We're going to add some color to it after. I'm going to draw her lips. I'm not really going to draw a lot for her nose. It's just going to be like that. I think I may draw some earrings for her. And once I get the gold gel pen going, this is going to come out. Okay, so I think what I'm going to do here is, I kind of want her to be holding a coffee, or maybe her hands will be crossed. I guess I'll focus right now. She's going to have a jacket on, but her dress is going to be right there. Not sure what I'm going to do with her arms. I think I'm going to give the illusion for her arm to be, wait, down here. So this arm is just down here, and this arm's going to be just crossed over. And this is supposed to be her hand. And again, I'm going to play around with that after. And I think I'm going to have a dog with her. Okay, so she's going to have a dog here, and I'm just going to start with the dog's nose and go from there. And I'm not drawing any particular dog. I'm just doing my best because I don't normally draw a lot of dogs. He's bigger than I imagined him to be, but I'm gonna go with this. And he's obviously some kind of shaggy dog. I'm gonna put a bow on this guy because I like to draw the bows on the little dogs. Okay, so he's got a bow, and I'm just doing sort of loose marks. I'm going to, a lot of times the dogs will have that sort of fluffiness in front of them, and then I'm just gonna bring his paws down and do a little more shaggy details for this dog, and we'll give him a little tail there. So that's just the dog and the girl. I do want a pumpkin here, maybe a latte on the table. I don't know what I'm going to put on the table, but we're creating sort of a scene here, like a fall illustration scene. I think I'm going to draw a couple of pumpkins down here. And when you draw a pumpkin, you can just draw a big oval and then a smaller oval inside of it. And the oval is perfectly imperfect because pumpkins are all sorts of weird and wonky shapes. I'm gonna just draw a little bit of the pumpkin here, this part coming out. And then sometimes they have these weird little things coming out of them. And then I'm gonna maybe draw another smaller one here. Again, I'm doing a, if you can see, it's hard for me. Okay, I'm gonna do, this one's gonna be wider. This is gonna be a wider sort of circle, and I'm gonna bring it sort of up, and then I'm gonna do like another circle in between it, like an oval with an oval. And again, we're gonna color this in, so it's okay that it's a bit wonky and messy, and that sort of it adds character to it. Just like her dress is gonna have some layers into it as she sits there. That's her hand, okay. There we go. So we've got the pumpkins. I think you can see that. We've got the pumpkins, the dog, the girl. I want something up here, but I'm not sure what. I'm gonna put a vase with some flowers. Maybe it'll just be like a little pot with flowers in it. So I'm gonna draw the little pot that's sitting on the table. And again, the loose lines, I'm gonna color it in after. And I'm just making some squiggly lines for the flowers on the table. And I'm gonna color it in after. And I think the final thing I'm gonna do is add like a mug here that she's drinking out of. And that's supposed to be steam coming out of the mug. Okay, so we have the image drawn, and now I'm gonna add some markers to it and gel pens, and you can use any kind of markers you want. I am using Ohuhu markers to do the initial coloring, but any markers will do, but these are the ones I have. Then I use my gel pens that I have. I have white and gold, the Signo gel pen Uniball, any gel pen will do to add the squiggly marks that I like. And that's how I'm going to color this in. And just the fact that I got to draw this is good enough for me. That is really hard. So I'm going to do my best to color it in, and hopefully it turns out. And if it doesn't, I'm going to give myself some grace and just be happy that I got to do this. One of my favorite colors is red, and I just love the way it pops off the page. And I think I'm going to color this lady with a red jacket. I'm trying to find a lighter red that I can use, or maybe even a lighter pink, and then add the shadows in after. I find if I start with a really dark color, it prevents you from adding any of the details that you want to add. So, okay, I got it. You can use any color that you want to use. It doesn't have to be exactly like mine. Now we know that I have her hand sort of coming out here, and I'm not sure how that's going to turn out, but right now I'm just going to color in the top part of her outfit. And I think I'm going to have her dress be more of, well, actually, I think I'll do a lighter pink for her dress and then shade it in from there. Okay, so I'm just going to color in this dress like this. And then I'm not sure what I'm going to do with the colors of that, but I kind of just like the way that looks. And what I'll do is the flowers, I'm going to start with this pink. And if you start with the lighter colors, you can add the darker colors on top of it and create some depth. So I just added the pink there. And I think also with the dog, I'm going to do that as well. I'm pretty sure this bow is going to end up being red, but for now I'm going to shade it in a pink color. I'm going to go with some gray for this dog. And again, one of the things I'm learning is to start with a lighter shade, and then if you want to add more dimension and make it look like it has more depth, then add darker to that after. And I'm just going to add a little bit of fluffiness to this dog. I'm not sure I want him to be completely gray. Might be one of those dogs with the different colors on their face. And again, if you make mistakes, that's where those gel pens come in. I like the way this little guy looks, and I'm just going to keep it, I think I'm just going to keep it like this for now. And if I want to add more, I will. But I like his sort of fluffy look. I'm going to use a darker red. And I test my colors here just because I like doing that, but I'm going to add some red to this guy's bow. I think his bow needs to be a little brighter. All right. And now I'm going to maybe touch up these flowers a bit with the same color. Sometimes I think adding the same color, pops of color throughout your drawing just brings it together. And that's why I'll try to add some of the same colors so I don't have to, so it brings it together. With regards to her jacket, I wonder, I think I'm going to leave her jacket. I don't think I'm going to add that red color, but I am going to get to the pumpkins now. And I'm testing my colors out. This is just my method. You can do it however you want, but I think I'm gonna, So I found a good orange, and now I'm looking for like a more brownish color. Okay, so I've got the brownish color, I've got the orange, and now I'm looking for like a lighter orange. Okay, It's a lighter orange, okay. And now I'm just gonna go in, and I'm not coloring every bit of the pumpkin. I'm leaving some of it white. Pumpkins are just a whole bunch of different colors. And now I'm going to go in with the darker shade sort of at the top of this pumpkin to create some shadows. And I'm bringing it down a bit and sort of up from the bottom, just because pumpkins will have those sort of areas of shadow. Okay, I like the way that one looks. And now I'm going to do it with this one. Just a nice loose drawing. And I think I have a bit of a darker orange. And I'm just again playing with it. All right, so I like the way that looks. And I wonder if I should make this a pumpkin latte. I'm not into pumpkin lattes, but I'm just gonna make it orange just because. I'll figure that out after. Might add a bit of the brown on top of it. Let's see. Make it look like a coffee. Okay, and now I'm gonna color in her face. And I'm not gonna color the whole thing. I'm just doing areas that I think are sort of shadowy. Actually, maybe I will color the whole thing. We'll see. This is her hand. I think I might lighten up her face in a minute. But her hat's supposed to be covering most of her face. And I'm wondering maybe I should give her reddish hair, like a dark red color, or let's see if I could find a dark red color for her hair. I think this is a good like auburny shade for her hair. And I'm coloring, like literally coloring outside the lines. These lines were just placement for me to show me where I wanted to get this, get everything in position. And then I color outside of the lines, over the lines. I don't really care about the lines too much, except for when I'm just drawing and mapping out my image. I'm adding a little gray here to create like a shadow. So I'm creating a shadow down her leg, just in where I think shadow should be for her face. And now adding some shadow to the dog as well. Okay, and I think her boots are going to be a darker gray. I didn't exactly get the feet right, which is okay. I'm just gonna leave it. They're not really the focus anyway. And now I'm just sort of highlighting the lines of the dress. Hat's just going to have some kind of lines or checkered marks on it. I wonder if I should just leave it like this. I think I'm gonna leave it like that, and I think I might add lines on this part of her jacket just to bring it together. And I'm gonna color the pot in green. Along with these little leaves there. And the table, I might add like a light gray to it. I found a light gray that I'm gonna use. And I'm only doing certain parts of the table. I'm not going to do the whole thing. I just want it to look a little bit like it has some shadows on it. And I wonder if her hat should be that gray color. There we go. And now I want to add to her face. Now I'm going to add the details using my gel pens and a little bit of gold acrylic paint. I do want to get her earrings with the gold acrylic paint, so I'm just going to put a circle there where the earrings were. And maybe I'll just do little dots up to her ear. I think I might want to do like some jewelry on her as well. Like this. That's fine, I like that. And maybe he'll have a little fancy, his collar is fancy. So I'm going to add that to his little bow. All right. And, oh, her shoes too are going to have the gold bows on them. And maybe something on the top there. Just because I feel like sometimes if you make a mistake, if you add some gold highlights or any kind of highlights, it sort of takes away from it. And I'm going to make the pumpkins a little bit fancy too. Why not? She's going to have a fancy latte as well. Okay, so we've added some fancy elements with gold. I'm going to go in with some white here. A lot of times the glasses will have like a little bit of reflection on them, so I'm adding a little bit of white. And then the bottom of her lip, a little bit of white. And I'm going in and just sort of highlighting different areas because I'm not even thinking too much. I'm just highlighting certain areas with the white. I might add a little bit of white acrylic marker here where the dress is. I like how this looks right now, and I'm really happy with all of it, but I feel like it's really boring in the background. I think what I'm gonna do is maybe draw like a window in where the coffee shop is behind her and then some leaves coming out. I have no idea how this is gonna look, but I don't like how boring it is in the back. So I'm just gonna do my best to create, maybe she's in front of the window of the coffee shop. And so this is going to be the window. And then I'll figure it out from there. I've got a nice light green, and I'm going to try to draw some greenery coming in. And I don't want to take away from, I want the folks to be on the front versus the back. So I'm going to try to just leave this loose and just trying to give the illusion of greenery coming in and not worrying too much if I'm drawing an exact tree or not. right? Okay. I kind of like this side better than this side. So more squiggly lines here coming in. And I'm not going to draw like the fall colors on the tree because I don't want it to take away from all the colors here. So I'm going to try to just leave it basic. And I know if I really want to, you know, I could actually draw brick and stuff, but I'm not going to do that. I'm going to get a gray color and I might draw something here. If they're, you know, if she's sitting on a sidewalk or a pathway or in front of a coffee shop, it's going to be a darker color down here. I like the way that looks. I thought it was a little boring with all the white. What I've decided is I think this is just going to say coffee, because a lot of times if you walk, if you go to a coffee shop, a lot of times there'll be stuff written on the window. So I think just for simplicity's sake and because I want to focus more on her, I think I'm just going to put coffee. And maybe I'll put croissant too. And for me, I'm happy with how this looks. I'm glad I added some background to it. I found it kind of boring without it. I'm going to zoom in. I want to thank you guys for joining me and happy sketching.